We're just back from our adventure to Dublin.
In our little propellered plane over to the Emerald City.
Yep. And we were in the...
Fuck you, I was getting away with it. Emerald City as in Wicked, as in the fucking Wizard of Oz. That's how it fucking felt. Actually, no, we're not starting again. That is exactly how it felt. We were at the Emerald City. What the fuck was going on in Ireland? Yeah. Where were we?
So
down the docks.
Aye, we were down the docks.
And you know what they say about being down the docks, Nick?
No.
Strange things. Very strange things. Number one, what I want to point out is there is a tram line and it only goes to one place, one location. It's just in a straight line, straight to the hospital. Yeah. What the fuck?
It's all those people in those corporate buildings that are...
weird. And also, there's no people.
No, that was
huge
weird.
Buildings, like massive corporate buildings, like fucking Silicon Valley. Not a single soul.
Yeah, so it was like really quiet during the day, like hardly a soul about.
Weird.
Like we were in a massive shopping centre at one point. Finding our bearings, and there was like 5 people in it.
I know.
The whole thing.
So fucking strange.
Yeah, and then and it's just big. It's these big concrete buildings, and I'm like, I was speaking to Amy about it the other day, and I was just like, I'm searching for the nature.
Yeah.
And I can't find it. And I feel trapped.
I was like, Nicola, where's the seagulls? Why have we not seen a pigeon? Like, what are they doing with them?
Yeah.
And then the hotel that we were staying in, I specifically booked this one because like it had like a spa in that, and I thought, oh, you know what, that'd be lovely for us. But as soon as we arrived, I knew straight away that neither of us were doing any form of spa. There's just like, it was supposed to be, I think it's meant to be like bougie, like sort of like hip and trendy place to be, but again, weird.
Yeah, it was weird.
Really fucking weird. Not so much the first night, I don't think we realised, but certainly by the second night, we were like, what the fuck's going on here? First night was like, this is attached to a pub. It's all a bit like interconnected, a little bit all over the place. Our rooms are mouldy and smell of smoke. Yeah. But apart from that, yeah, fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, the second night, that's when things really sort of turned up, and I was like, are we in a hookup joint place? Is that what's going on here? And then the morning that we were leaving, when the police arrived, the guards, that's when we were like, nah,
that's all the proof.
This is dodgy as fuck. Time to go home. Thanks very much. Yeah. So location wise, not ideal, and definitely not the Ireland that we would have liked to have expected to see. And it's so like deflating, because every time you're like, oh, we went to Dublin, everybody's like, oh, I fucking love Dublin, been to Dublin tons, blah blah blah, and they like got all these amazing stories about how wonderful it was. We were a solid 30 minutes from the centre of Dublin, and there was just no way in terms of like where we were that would be okay for us to actually go to.
Yeah.
It was just, the whole thing was totally fucked up. We arrived, we stayed the night, we went to the conference the next day, then we stayed the night, and then we went home.
Yeah.
So it was, that was our experience of Ireland. But we were there for a proper purpose, and it was all worth it in the end, because we got to see
our hero,
the magical,
Brené Brown.
Yes.
Oh. So we were at the Pendulum Summit.
Aye.
So we spotted that she was doing, I like to call it the Brené concert.
Yes.
Because it was all about her.
Yeah. That's why we were there.
Yeah. Spotted that she was doing it back in like November time, and I was just like, can we go? Mm-hmm. And then next week you were like, we're going.
Aye.
So yes, we got to see our hero Brené Brown. And like, well, are we going to go straight into Brené Brown, or we'll go a bit around the speakers first?
No, I think like let's stick on why we needed to see Brené. Like, so where did your journey start with Brené Brown?
I must have been. It was definitely you and Chris that introduced me to Brené Brown when were like, read this book, and I think it was Dare to Lead, actually.
Yeah.
And when I first read that book, and I was just like, holy shit, like, this is the kind of thinking that I've been searching for my whole life in business.
Your whole life.
Aye, in terms of how she approaches leadership specifically, and how we should be leading. And like spiritually for me that just aligned in terms of like the business side of things. And then I read more of her work, and specifically The Gifts of Imperfection had a huge impact on me in terms of being more self-compassionate with yourself. I needed to hear it at the time that I read it, and it made me feel normal, completely human, like in terms of how I was feeling, because I always felt like I shouldn't be feeling like this. And Brené's like, no, you're allowed to feel like this. It's about moving through it. I've watched her stuff online as well. Her vulnerability. Talks online, our Netflix talk as well, and everything that she shares is relatable, makes complete sense, and she talks in a way that it's like I want to see the world like that way too.
Yeah, no, I feel like for going back to when we first ever read Dare to Lead as our like sort of like pinnacle moment of finding out who this woman was, I think for how to understand how she gets to her reasonings and her rationale, like all of her. Everything that she talks about is clever as fuck, because she's went out and found out about it with real life like stories and examples of the people that she's researching, the people that she's teaching, the lessons that she's learning along the way. Everything is to do with behaviour and communication. It's such a strong sort of centerfold for us to work from. Like that's who we are instinctively as leaders, as mothers. We want to be that good too.
Yeah.
And I think when I started in the sort of leadership field of like how I'm going to run this business, what my generation's going to look like and all the rest of it, like there was very much a sway of like what good leadership looks like, and whether or not you have the ability or the skill or the brain to become a good leader, or are you going to go down a different avenue? And so for me, like it was just a no-brainer. Like this was the type of leadership I wanted to do. And there's other people out there telling you to do it different ways, or they have their own sort of stronghold over their workforce for whatever reason that they think that it works well. And it typically is more often than not under a blame and shame culture, driven by just like historical abuse of other humans, right back to blimmin', the slave trade and what have you. So it's like understanding why the way that Brené thinks about things is not only right, it is the only way.
Yeah.
And I think to feel that strongly and that passionately about how she explains leadership and guides us in terms of how to do it the right way is just a phenomenal gift to us. Like, I'm so pleased that we found her. I'm so pleased that Chris introduced us to not just Brené, but like Simon Sinek and what have you as well. Like, there's a lot of them that we've taken, Jim Collins, like there's loads that we've taken stuff from, but nobody meets the bar that Brené's got. And so we had to be there.
Yeah.
And she never does this shit as well, which is important. Like she, it's not something she'll do off her own back. Like she won't host her own thing or anything. This is very purposeful for her. She wanted to go to Ireland. This made tax purposeful sense to go and work at the same time. And, so she was there to speak to us as a favour, really. To us, which was really nice, and it felt like that too, like she was actually visiting us.
Yeah,
when she came on the stage. So, I mean, our journeys together, me and you have taken all of the lessons, interpreted them, and put them into action, and then we have trained all of our staff the Brenny way too.
Yeah.
So everybody understands, about how to be clear and kind, how we disarm her, how we don't use blame and shame, how we recognise and are capable of having trusting, respectful conversations with one another. That's like all through the entire business. That is the whole purpose. So she's had a huge impact on Gillies Mackay as a whole. And just as us personally as well.
Yeah.
Like to connect to her. She's cool as fuck.
Yeah.
She's so cool.
I remember seeing her when she was coming in the curtains just before she was on stage. I was like, oh, there she is.
It was like seeing Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Like, here she comes.
That's it.
Yeah. So exciting.
The thing that I love about Brené Brown and watching her like talk about her stuff is that she thinks. She sits and thinks, like she doesn't have a straight answer, like a straight away. And I've watched some of her videos, like at the back you seen her at the Pendulum Summit. She's talking about the same things of Strong Ground in a new book. But even just observing like how she is in those moments, like she doesn't know the questions that are coming to her. She thinks about them in the moment, so they might shift and change depending on where she's at the moment, but it's still the same outcome of what she's talking about. And I really love that about her. The to be able to just stop, think clearly, and then articulate it in such a way, and I'm just like, wow, like I would love to be able to articulate myself like that specifically. And she always talks about the space between the thought and the action as well. And you can see that she does it in that moment too. Like even like compared to like everybody else that we've seen at Pendulum Summit, that was a talk, like
performance.
Yeah, and she's like,
she's having a conversation. Yeah. I also like the sort of like human element to her self-awareness at any point when she's telling a story or she's explaining a lesson. She will often refer to her own mistake of that lesson. And I love that. It's not just because it appeals like in a self-depreciating way, which we love to do in Scotland as it is, but it's more like it just makes you connect with it better. It's the relatability of it. So like, she'll go on about or mention the things that she struggles with when it comes to being controlling or expectations or being harsh on someone before, like prejudging a situation and what have you, and then checking herself, sort of correcting the situation and going back in with the eyes that she's meant to. And that's like, for a woman who is in that space 24/7 for God knows how many years now, and she's still learning it every day. It just shows you the work's never done, obviously. And that is what leadership is about. It's about growing together with your people, not against them, not for them. You're doing it together. Yeah. So she's pretty cool.
Yeah, she is. What was your biggest takeaway from what she was speaking about in her section? I mean, I've got 3 takeaways. I don't think I could pick one. I think they're all really good as well. But what did you pick up? We'll probably have similar things.
Yeah, we probably definitely do. I think, right, so there's one thing that's very sort of relevant in terms of me as a leader and things that I would love to do with my leadership team to get a greater understanding of above and below the line in terms of behaviours and your sort of like what emotions are turning up for you at certain points, and understanding where your triggers are so you can communicate better with each other. So the above and below the line is a key thing that I'd love to practice at. But in terms of takeaway for me, the number one for me was, and I think it's just prevalent because we have children, and we are well aware of how the world is working today, and the sort of advances in the industries of what it's going to be like for them, what this world is going to be for them. And I think like how strong-minded Brené is on protecting the future, I think that was the sort of striking point for me, is that I want to do more about making sure that my kids are set up properly, that they have well-rounded minds, that they're educated in a way that they should be and not the way that the social media or the internet tells them, and that I build on their self-esteem and their self-confidence to become strong adults. And I think, there was an undertone, obviously, of Brené's own personal feelings about the landscapes in America and what have you. But ultimately for me, what I was feeling was that as parents, we all have a duty of care, not just for our own children, but the children of the world. And I'd love to be more active in that. And have more to say about it. And I know we're due to speak about social media in one of our next episodes, but that was a big one for me. But I was also listening to Anxious Generation on the plane on the way across, so it was kind of like feeding into that same theme anyway. But that was one of the big takeaways for me, was the way in which the corporate world has control over our young minds right now. And what we need to do, or what we need to be actively doing in person, face to face with our kids today. So that was one of my biggest sort of like ahas from listening to her, was just my brain went off on a wee tangent about the stuff that I should be doing for my kids and for other people's children too.
I love that. That's big.
It's a big one.
It is a big one. I think for me specifically, again, I agree with you with the fear line thing. I was listening to the podcast on the way up the road today, actually. It's our latest episode, actually, but it was back in October. It's an episode dedicated to the fear line, and going above it and below it, and like it was making me like self-aware in terms of, right, okay, how do I communicate like that? That makes complete sense. I'm just thinking about like even specific scenarios over the last week. I'm like, when have I been above the line and when have I been below the line, and how can I get ahead of that? How can I recognise that in the moment? So that's given me a lot to think about in terms of, I would love to be able to communicate like that. But my main takeaway was, she says there are 3 key areas or skills that you need to have in order to be a leader today and going into the future. And the 3 areas were self-awareness, emotional regulation, and systems thinking. So I was kind of like thinking about like, where am I in all of that? And in that moment, I'm like, self-awareness, I was just like, I would say I'm pretty self-aware. I was like, I could probably still work on it more, but I think in general I'm self-aware. And then I was like, right, emotional regulation is like, absolutely fucking not. I was just like, I am not emotionally regulated, like, at all whatsoever. And like, it makes sense why she brought that up as a thing, because it's a challenge that I feel that I have faced in here quite a few times, actually. And I can see why emotional regulation has to be it. And you can see Brené and how she seems emotionally regulated, or she talks about, like what you said, how she feels in the moment and then how she moves through it to get to that side in terms of how you act going forward. So, and I think for me specifically is the language around emotional regulation. I feel like it's like a whole dictionary that you need to be able to learn, and like talking about emotions and trying to understand like what one it is and where you're feeling is quite hard. I find that quite difficult to figure out. I was saying that in the stand-up last week, like I umbrella emotions, so I'm just like, I am sad. But actually there's like maybe like 5 different emotions underneath that. What one is it? And Brené says, if you don't understand the 70 odd emotions that are around, you can't be able to regulate yourself to move through it. So I was just like, right, okay. So I was like, that's really important. And also emotional regulation, it actually comes into what you were saying about like thinking about your children and the kids and them moving through it. Emotional regulation is a huge thing in my household in terms of how the kids can manage that, for how we co-regulate and how they can regulate themselves. Huge thing. And like it is thinking about them and their future, in terms of, right, okay, we need to be able to do it so we can show them how to do it. And then the systems thinking one is one that I'm still getting my head around. Specifically, I'm like, I don't think I fully understand that yet. And like I would like to look into it, but I'm starting with emotional regulation, and then exploring the systems thinking.
I think it's easy for us as well, like to see the emotional regulation as like our shiny toy, because it's so connected to us, because that's the sort of stuff that we love to talk about, and then the systems thinking, we're like, oh, yeah, okay, sounds as boring as it sounds. Maybe we'll get round to that. But actually, the little that I do know about systems thinking is all about the connection that it has within you as well. So I think the tools that she's telling us to go and figure out and learn will resonate with us just as much as anything else has previously with her. So I'm really excited. I'm excited for us to get back into it. You know, like I remember when we were first starting to teach like Callum and Chrissy about Brené Brown and stuff like that, and like how fun that was for us, and then like waiting for them to get it, and they were like, oh yeah, that makes total sense, and like getting them to do like their conversations, like how they communicate to their teams and how they maintain respectability and trust and be able to keep these people safe whilst also being able to invoke the change that they need. Like all of that stuff was so much fun. And it's really fun mainly because everybody feels good. Nobody is feeling shit about who they are or what they're doing. And I think that's the main premise for Brené. She makes everyone feel good and nobody has to feel shit. So that's, you know, take that from what you will, but I think it is the better way to run a business. The proof is in the pudding, for me anyway. But the like when you're talking about like what we'd actually like got to understand in our presentation and stuff like that, when you're speaking to me there, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that, oh yeah, I remember that, because there's not a minute that goes by that she's not saying something that means something. She's very careful with her words and her stories, and there's purpose to it all. And the boy that was interviewing her did a grand job of it as well. David Mead, he's obviously really good at that sort of shit, because you would have to be if you're up against Brené Brown. You're not going to get away with just what's your favourite colour. You know what I mean? So he did a great job. I was really impressed with the questions that we knew that we were getting the real answers to. And the way that she drew us in as well, like everybody sit down, turn the lights up, let's see your faces. This is a conversation for us. I'm going to tell you what I need to tell you. And I thought that was just really cute. And she's like, she brought in her experience of Dublin as well, which I loved. Like she was talking about that I think she was having a hard time, and she's come to Dublin and she's having a bit of a spiritual experience herself while she's there, and that she loves the place and so forth. So it's nice to just hear that connection side of things as well. I'm just like, but come to Scotland though. Come on, Brené. Come to Scotland. I know that you're wanted everywhere. I know, I can.
You can come on this podcast. Scotland. Come to the sheds.
One day.
I know. We did say that. One day.
One day.
But yeah, like, I mean, for anybody that's watching, if you've never heard Brené Brown before or heard of her, we absolutely encourage anybody to go. There's ways that you can connect with her through her books, through podcasting, on YouTube.
She's everywhere. She's done the TED Talks as well. So if you're like more familiar with that sort of thing, then that's maybe a starting place. But it's not like, I just feel like how to be a good person is what Brené teaches. It's not just how to be a good leader. It's like all round how to be a good person and understand yourself better, and looking for self-compassion too when you're trying to do things. And a lot of her stories include her as a mother, which is obviously relatable for us, and we really enjoy that aspect of it for sure. She's been stuck in some predicaments with the kids, but it has helped in terms of teaching. And her children, like the lessons that she's learned through her children, are shared with us, and then we see them in our own parenting of our kids as well. And it's just funny things. The marble jar, for example, and the sharing half a seat with their pal type of thing. Like, that's the amount of trust that you can have with somebody if you are sitting on a school chair and you'll go halfies with your pal. That's because that's the type of pal that they are. Like, you've got that level of trust. Just silly little beautiful stories that make things resonate and remember. Like for you in your day-to-day, going about communicating with all the people that work so hard for your company and all the people that love you in your life, it's nice.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It's a good bubble to be in, the Brené bubble.
Yeah, we need more people in the bubble.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It's more, the message needs spread further and wider in terms of, well, that's what we believe, so.
Yeah, I do, and I think in terms of, if you think about resistance or why this message isn't as clear as it could be, it's a lot of fucking hard work. And it's a lot of inward looking, and people aren't willing to do that all the time. So, if you're willing to do the work, it will fucking work for you, for sure. She is. I'm so glad that we stuck it out in the trenches of the quayside of Dublin to see our pal. It was beautiful. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, so did I. It was all part of the adventure. It was the icing on the cake. And I'll never forget. It was, I never ever forget. I said that I wanted her to change my life.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, she's changing my life again. Great. Yeah. She will always change your life. She's an angel.
She is.
Aye.
I'll not be the last time as well. I felt that when we were leaving the conference. Like, I wasn't sad because I was like, this will not be the last time.
Aye.
We'll get to see her again. I really felt that too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. Well, until the next time.
Until the next time, Brené.
Yeah. Big love to Brené.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us on this week's episode. If you'd like to keep up to date with new NattyShedLife episodes, you can subscribe on our YouTube channel or follow us on your favourite podcast app. See you next time.